Hello everyone, this is Grand Chief Rose here. Um, not to get too political, but fuck it, eh? Uh, so the reason why First Nations don't celebrate Thanksgiving, it's like asking us to show up to our own genocide. I'm not kidding. And I'm not trying to make people feel bad about it. I'm just asking if you could, instead of calling Thanksgiving, call it Harvest Fest or whatever day you want to call it. It's up to you. But Thanksgiving for us is a reminder of how mass genocide through blankets and smallpox. Now, I believe the first couple times wasn't on purpose. However, there was a lot of evil people that used that and killed millions of our people with smallpox. As a First Nations Indigenous here, I can speak on that history. And when I first heard that years ago, I'm like, oh yeah, it's not a big deal, right? And it kind of got on me. It's just like, you know what? Let's switch it around to being called something else, right? I love food. I love coming together for food. Any excuse, obviously. I'm a big guy, right? Not too big, but I mean, I always love it when women think when guys can cook, they're looking for the skinny, scrawny guy, and it's like, that guy can't cook, obviously. But, anyways, so there's a lot of stuff that was on my mind tonight. So I thought, well, I'll get up and I'll do a video. What the hell, right? And, yes, as you can tell, I'm swearing. Yeah, no problem. uh, yeah, no, I'm kind of enjoying this. Uh, there was a lot to go over. Uh, a lot of times the main thing I want to go over is anytime someone offers a solution saying I'm gonna solely, and I'm not referring to me as an individual. Sorry, I have a bad habit of signing sometimes, and I may have gotten that one wrong. Um, they anyone who goes around or anyone who worships a person is and says I'm going to be the one that saves Canada. Fuck you, you're a fucking liar. You truly are, because you know you can't save Canada. I've heard Rudy Bruce, Pat King, Chris Guy at least had little plans of creating Facebook groups and mums and parents getting together. He at least got further ahead than most and had somewhat of a plan. It wasn't give me money and I'll save Canada, which it seems like which was the most for all the rest, eh? And now I don't hate anyone particularly. What I wanted to just point out is that anyone who follows these people blindly needs kind of realize that and ask, what is your plan? If they don't have a plan, why are you following them? Hey, if they can't explain the plan, oh yeah, the times are bad. Of course the times are bad. Times are always bad, right? When conservatives then ask a liberal, the times are horrible. But if you go and ask a conservative and liberals, it's fucking awful, right? So when it comes down to it, there you can always look at the negative things, and people don't realize either. Like one thing that I love that Trump said more than anything, he said, "Any publicity is good publicity." Now that being said, people quit fucking advertising for Justin Trudeau. Put on your vehicle, instead of saying fuck Trudeau or Trudeau for treason or anything like that, put fucking go Pierre Poilievre or go Max Bernier, fuck you, or something like that, right? But the point is, put it something where more the energy was where you want it to go, is what I'm trying to get at. Now, if you still want to save Canada, well, it's falling apart. We're sitting here, you're like grinding gears on the wheel that can't turn anymore, right? And it can't turn that engine anymore. Canada, it has been a corporation from the beginning. So is a lot of other countries. I think there's only about 4 or 5 countries, non-registered corporations, that are on the UN list. And then now they've kind of taken that down because they're afraid that it would encourage people to go with that. So as a corporation shareholder of Canada, Doesn't mean we still don't have a constitution. We still have a constitution. A lot of people made that mistake in the past, eh? So that was another dumb thing that people thought, we don't have a constitution, and people just followed blindly without looking. In 18 some the other March 16th, I think it was, Queen Elizabeth signed off the constitution for Canada. So, but the point is, whether she signed it or not doesn't matter. We do have a constitution. Does it benefit the people? Not really. It benefits more people in power. But you know why it benefits people is because we're going and we're putting the wrong people in power. We keep voting for that guy or this guy, and the reality is they all worship the same thing. They all serve the same deal. Like, everyone was so obsessed with Maxime Bernier, but in 2015, him and Pierre were at the World Economic Forum shaking Bill Gates' hands. Now, don't get me wrong, in 2015, I thought he was a great guy. Bill Gates is a great guy, too. Now I think he's the most evil one of the most evil people on Earth, eh? And that's what he give that persona. Oh, yeah, I'm humanitarian. I did this, I did that. He has committed more genocide, and a lot of other people, too, eh? But let's not get in the negative. Let's focus on the positive. So, how are we going to fix this? It's simple. Simpler than you think. Get rid of your cable. Quit watching mainstream news and media. Thanks to Trudeau, dumbass, for getting mainstream banned off social media. I love that. I love that. Because we've been, as a patriot, we've been trying to get that done for years, and he did it for us. As a screw up, but still, it was funny. And then everyone's panicking. Well, we should get our mainstream media. Sure, absolutely. Support your local guy who's doing the news and media. As long as he's not saying, I'm going to be your savior. If he's going to be your savior, then I'd walk away, because he ain't going to be your savior. He's going to lead you down that cultish path, right? So, yeah. What I mean by is that how we're going to change things for the positive is by coming together and rebuilding and starting long before this society collapses. And it will. It's just on a ticking time. You can only have so much debt. You can only have so much taxes before no one can afford to work anymore. And it's getting to that point where we're at that, we're past that line. 3.5 million homeless across Canada, over 10 to 15 million people in extreme poverty. We have surpassed that 30 to 40% mark. We have 70 to 80% of the population that are in poverty. We have 40% that are in extreme poverty. And again, it's all because we let it happen, right? And because everything's falling. You know, you can, like I said, you can only tax so much for it before it becomes too much, eh? Before it becomes way too fucking much. So this is why it comes down to, we need a better way, simpler way. And I'm not saying follow me. Follow a system that I helped create. I didn't even want to be chief. I'll explain that in another one. I am Grand Chief, but I didn't want to be. So I'm not a wannabe chief. Sorry, I couldn't resist laugh. But no, the truth is, I actually did not want the position. But I wrote 80% of the Constitution we have, and it's one of the biggest constitutions in the world. It talks about our structure, all that kind of stuff. Your rights, your kids' rights, everyone's rights, eh? Including environmental protection, stuff like that. So in other words, we can't go log anything for export. If we're harvesting or we're taking trees down, the only time we should be logging is to clear land for farming. Other than that, everything should be used by our people. Now, if it's a finished product, we can sell that, but not to the point where we're stripping our forests down, kind of thing. So we had a lot of extra wood, and we could build 10 extra cabins and go deliver them to another First Nations community that could need it. Absolutely. Now, that being said, we're an Indigenous community. We're into res because we weren't in a concentration camp. Now, people don't realize that reserves were concentration camps up until the 1960s. When they put through the Bill of Rights, the fences came down, and we actually got to be free. Then, there was a lot of hatred that was put in by the government, and they've been doing that all along. It's the oldest British technique. The Romans did it. The Egyptians did it. The list goes on. You get peasants to fight each other. That's the way they do it, right? And so we can come together under the basic principle that we cannot change where we're born or what our skin color is, but we can choose to rebuild, be part of something great, and make change. So when I say indigenous, I'm talking about First Nation, Métis, Inuit, native born. So native born includes anyone born in Canada. And usually about 2 or 3 generations, usually. However, we're not going to reject anyone with good trade skills, regardless. Now, it doesn't mean people aren't still welcome as guests that are immigrants. I don't like the idea of saying immigration. But anyways, that's a whole different thing. I like, if guests want to come in, the only thing they're allowed to buy is a condo, right? They're not allowed to own businesses, stuff like that. There's many different ways in the Constitution allowing them to become citizens, but they have to work for it. And they pay higher taxes, but it'd still be better than out here. So, and the biggest thing for us is it's unique because we never, on our reserves, we don't pay a lot of income tax, or if we do, it's very little. So what we've got to set up is that it's a 10% fixed maximum community contribution fund and fee kind of thing with our own currency. So 10% goes there. That pays for a road, medical, and a schools. So that way we can educate our children the right way. Not the, I don't have anything against gay people, lesbians, or the LGBTQ. Just, that doesn't need taught in school. If you want to go learn about it, we have Google. That's what it's for. We don't need our kids doing that. Being, with drag shows, all that stuff. I don't know why parents would bring it to, what is your own deal, right? Some of the books that have been going through, it's just, I know they're trying to push this LGBTQ stuff, and the reality is you gotta remember, we have Nazis in power right now. Well, what did the Nazis do last time? After they gained full power, they went and executed all the LGBTQ community. I'm not kidding. Over 300 of their soldiers, too, including generals. So we got to realize that if you are part of that community, avoid it with all costs. Because you're not actually part of it. You're just someone who chooses, I don't know, I'm not getting into that too much, but the point is that if we want to make change, like I said, I have no problem, and most people don't. Nobody cares what you do in your bed. Just don't come out and sit there and cause problems or make a big parade about it. Everyone sits there and says, Scott, why don't you go to a gay pride? Well, because there's no Irish pride parades. There's no Scottish. There's no First Nation. There's a long list of people who've been suppressed long before gay and lesbians ever were, or the rest of whatever that group is. I never had a problem with them until they started adding the pedophile part. Attracted minors, whatever the heck they call it. A pedophile's a pedophile. You can't just say you're a woman going into a man walking to a woman's washroom, and yeah, it needs to change. So how does that make change? There's lots of ways to do it. There's community service. You can have community watches like you used to back in the day. When you have idiots like that do that, put them on a watch list. I don't care. It needs to be done if they're at high risk of hurting children, and not all of them are. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of good people no matter what. There's one person I know that speaks out all the time. he's a transgender, gender switch, right? And speaks out all the time. Wonderful person. I've had personal conversations with this person, but there's a lot of other problems that we're facing in our society. And when it comes down to it, we can do the whole community watch, and that helps a bit. But what happens when the police back them up, like they've been doing? So what do you do then? Well, you pull your kids out of school. You go to the bathroom with your kids when they're young. Not just stand outside the stall. Make sure first the stall is empty. And then if someone tries to push their way in while your kid's in there, you knock his ass out. Plain and simple. I never thought I'd be having this conversation. I was going to go a whole different thing. The reason why it's good to the biggest thing for us is that we're sitting here with that fear and then that control that they use and that hate. Get rid of that. How do you do that? By letting go to a certain degree. Quit being controlling. And I know most people are like, I'm not controlling. What the hell, right? Well, I'm not talking about psycho, like boyfriend, girlfriend controlling. I'm talking about trying to control everything around you to make yourself feel safer. And that's a very normal thing, right? I've seen some people so controlling that they help pass Justin Trudeau around a lot. Or other stuff like that. And like I said, they're just doing some free advertising for them. They don't even realize that. There's just so much anger and stuff like that. And I get that anger. I was there too. And it wasn't until a friend of mine who's ex-military said, Scott, quit being controlling. I'm not controlling. And, when you let go, it makes a huge difference, right? And biggest thing for me, yes, I'm in a position that has a lot of control, but very limited. But I'm not here because I want to be, if that makes sense. I'm here because I have to be, because I designed it, and let's face it. There's a reason, I don't actually have to go to the council for anything, but I choose to. I love the idea of taking a vote from people, but we do have true democracy in the communities, right? Or as people know, direct democracy, whatever you want to call it, right? Where people get a vote and a say in what's going on, eh? And if people want to suggest laws, then that's how it works, and 80% or higher. It's something new. It's something to change for the positive. A good place for families to grow up and become like big families, eh? And I know for some people who are kind of isolated, it's like, shit, does this mean someone gets to know me? Yes, probably. People get to know your name. Absolutely. People actually care about you. People aren't just trying to talk to you for scamming or to sell you something. Although some people might try to sell you some stuff. That's normal in the mall if you go there. Because you're in the mall, right, to buy stuff. No, there's a lot of different positive things about Canoe Nation. And a lot of things. And I've been so focused about the sale of my company. I sold my mining company so that way I could help fund Canoe Nation. And everyone's like, well, how do you sleep at night? Sometimes I don't. But the number itself isn't the issue. It's I can't sleep sometimes because I'm excited to get going. I'm excited to get moving. I'm excited to purchase new trucks, to be able to get that land, to be able to move forward and making a huge difference. You know how many designs I have back here on my filing cabinet? I have designs for a lot of different things that will help make everything grow. And I just got, the other day, I remembered about this equipment that we could get to use to help dig the tunnels out better. And I know everyone's like, oh, why are you doing tunnels? Well, because utilities is a lot easier to, put the utilities if you have tunnels. A lot easier to fix them. So yes, it costs a little bit more up front, but in the end, the maintenance is a lot less. But no, I went to the council, said, hey, it's not like, hey, it's my money, I'm going to go do this and this. No. I didn't even mention money. It's like, hey, what do you guys think of this? You know, is this something you think we should get? And stuff like that. So we have a long list of shopping to do when it comes down to it. We've even hooked up with some local mills. I know the idea was to produce a lot of our own lumber, but that takes a while too. You need to let your wood season so you can actually cut it up, depending on the wood. So yeah, no, there's a lot of different things we can do. We can come together, despite uh, race and color. Should never be discriminated upon that. I mean, make fun of the guy's hat, sure, no problem. If the guy's got a goofy hat, see if you guys get along. But when it comes down to it, as an Indigenous person in Canada here, I think we all need to fucking come together and make a difference. Build while everything's falling. It's the only way. I mean, I've seen so many people trying to create new political parties, and it's like, for what? It Even if you had hundreds of millions of dollars, I mean, you look at Maxine Bernier's party, 1.2 million votes they got in the last election, and not one seat. 1.2 million votes. Conservatives got 6.5 million votes, and they didn't even get the minority. Our system is completely messed up, and that's why it needs to go. I know change is always scary to people. Everyone wants the same thing. That, oh, let's go back to the good old days. Why? Why the fuck should we go back to any fucking good old days? You mean back when we had the reserves and there were concentration camps, or we had the people during World War II and they were sitting there in concentration camps that were immigrants that came to this country to get a new beginning? Or how about the fact that on reserves, a lot of people still get treated. I mean, and abused in that whole system. And I mean, it's not like this shit doesn't happen out here either. Don't get me wrong. I didn't grow up on a reserve. I learned about reserves later on and what they were. Maybe that's why I understand them maybe a bit better. It doesn't mean that I didn't escape the poverty growing up. I didn't escape, the first 2 weeks we got all the good food, maybe the first week, and then the rest was all rations the rest of the month. That is kind of what happened when we were growing up. And I know my mom did her best to try to provide. She truly did, but she wasn't feeling good. She got stuck on disability assistance, more or less. I was in, before that, my mom had addiction till I was almost 10. She still does to this day now, but anyways, that's a whole different thing. I love my mom. She's my only mom, but my grandparents raised me till I was almost 10. My grandmother passed away about a year ago. She was like a mother to me, and because they raised me till I was almost 10, they were very strict. And so I remember going to my mom's place every 2 weeks, and always, she'd buy pizza and stuff like that. But when I went to live there, it was a whole different thing, right? So no, it's interesting how I didn't even know why. It wasn't until I was 24 I asked my grandparents when I was really angry about something else. I said, why did you even bring me? And they're like, well, they said, well, because you're the well-behaved one. They couldn't stand my younger brother because all he do is scream and squawk and holler all the time, whereas I was well-behaved. I'd sit there and smile, and I was just happy to be there. So, and don't get me wrong, my grandma's a good cook, but I still remember how when I go in the kitchen and smell all this good food, and I'm like, what's for supper, Grandma? Food. No, what's for supper? Food. Now go watch the TV. She was a good cook and stuff like that. I always remember when she went and when she made I wouldn't say homemade hamburger soup, but it was soup with pasta and canned tomatoes and stuff. And I think it was once or twice she did the hamburger soup thing. And it was funny when I went to the tribal council for doing upgrading and for parenting classes back about 10 years ago now almost. I learned a lot about my culture then. And it was funny when they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to show you a real traditional dish. They gave me hamburgers. Like, yeah, my grandma used to make this. And then also hot dogs and mac and cheese. Yep, that's a res dish too, eh? There's the one thing I hated the most was rice mixed with meat and veggies and stuff. My mom used to use rice a lot for a filler. I love rice on the side. I don't like it mixed. Same like rice and tomato soup. Um, I usually love every food, but those are some of the foods that I just don't like mixing rice like that. Now, chicken fried rice, awesome. Um, Perfect. But yeah, I'm just kind of rambling on this point, but I don't know. I just thought I'd get up and share with you guys. Communication is something we created, but it wasn't at first. Like, when I had an elder there, he got a hold of me. I was at a rally. Yes, I did rallies. Don't look so surprised. I did. I went out to this fucking rally there where Chris Guy was at. I knew him before. I still have his phone number. I can still phone the guy up if I want to. And the message he gave was interesting, but uh, he uh, he hotboxed his weed so much in his car. I got high off him on the side stage. Wasn't even mean to. I don't smoke weed. I had such a bad asthma attack because of the fumes coming off his clothing. It was horrible, eh? But the message was pretty clear. He went and said, "Okay, moms, go and create Facebook groups, or groups on other social medias, have backups or WhatsApp stuff like that, right? And or even fathers can do the same. Learn about what your kids are going through, all that kind of stuff." And his message was pretty good. Don't comply, right? Okay, so that's only works for so long. But he had a lot of people out there, which worked no problem, eh? And like I said, I don't hate any of them. At least he wasn't saying, I'm going to be your savior, right? He just said, hey, I got a plan. And those are the type of guys who, and he had a lot of people out there, and I get it. I met up with him, stuff like that. It was a good talk, and the reason why I brought that up was because that evening I was we had a party after. Now I don't drink alcohol, but I'm like, hey, why not? Let's go meet some of these people. They're great people and stuff like that. There was some good barbecuing, really good burgers and hot dogs and stuff like that. And unfortunately, the $5 left to my name with a full tank of gas, so I bought coffee on the way out. But anyways, I had an elder who I'd met a while back, and he phoned me up, and I'm like, okay, hang on a second. And so I went to a room upstairs, and I was quiet, and I had a conversation with him. I asked him how things are going, stuff like that, and I was telling him about, my Chris guy and whatever, and he says, we're going to create our own nation. And I laughed. I thought the guy was joking, right? And that's how it all started. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, no problem, yeah. And then I hung up, and I'm like, got 10 steps, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, yeah, now my curiosity's getting the better of me. So, what the fuck was it that he's going on about, hey? So I'm thinking, fuck it, I'll give this guy a call again. So I give him a call. I said, okay, theoretically, if this was serious, what would I need to do to create a nation? And he said, well, at least 250 signatures, and I'll get back to you on the rest. Well, he was kind of always seen like an outsider on the People of Salmon, so he got me to go in. And so I went in for a while, and complete chaos. They didn't know anything what they were doing. But it took me 8 months of doing research, because this was originally in April that I, had that conversation with them. And then by January 1st of 2022 is when we started running our deal there. And then 2023 here, we celebrate our first birthday. So January 20th at 10:30 p.m. is when we got our 250 signature. Now we got 400 or 500 in total, which was great on our Constitution. Now we had to do by e-signature. So we have 5 different level of membership. We had it was a founder membership is what it was. And of course the government, because they're not all treaty, they're not accepted. I'm like, okay, well, we weren't asking for a treaty card or the Indian Act, or they kept pushing us, so we want the Indigenous Act, so Bill C-15 Indigenous Act, right? And for all those who don't know what UNDRIP is, I'd really suggest you go read Bill C-15. Don't go off of what someone else tells you. It literally is only 2 pages. If you can't read 2 pages, I have no hope for you. I truly don't. But read through it, goes over the basic rights. Like 7.2, we have the ability to give our kids their own personal, a better education and more traditional in the way we want to. Number 10.1, we can't be moved off the land. 11.2, we can demand compensation. Not really looking for that. At least I have to do with the government, the better. Because the moment you get money, they have power over you, right? And hence the reason why we have our own currency. Now, oh yeah, so 7.2, actually, sorry, no one can take our kids with by a third party unless we agree upon it. Not that we'd ever should agree on that. 14 was one is education. Media, we can have our own news and media. Economics, so we can have our own currency, we can have our own production, all that kind of stuff. 24.1 allows us to have our own medicines. So natural medicines, store-bought and crap, whatever, right? It depends on what it is, land. So we can reclaim our heritage lands, although the Canadian government's not cooperating. So this is how you know that this isn't part of their agenda, is because we did do the land claim. Nope. No. That doesn't go on the Indian Act. So we're not Indians, you fucking racist piece of shit. I actually said that to a guy. Oh, I was so pissed off because he kept going around in circles. We're not Indians. We're First Nations. We're Indigenous. We're Métis, Inuit. Heck, Native American or Native born makes more sense. People from India, they come here and they're so confused when they're like, oh, the Indians. Well, we weren't fucking here before. What the hell are you talking about? They actually do get offended because they're the ones that are from India who are Indians, right? So, anyways, back to the point here. Okay, so we have 30.1 for military. We're allowed to have our own security or military force. We do not have, we can actually refuse to allow military to come on to our lands. 32.2, we can do any development whichever way we see. However, if we're asking for money from the government, yes, they do have a say over that, and that's hence the part where we're not giving the fucking government power over us. Members, 33.1, we get to define who our members are. And I figured if we're going to survive in the future, we need to fucking bring anyone in who's Indigenous. Anyone who is First Nation, Inuit, Métis, Native born. When it comes down to it, anyone who's born on this chunk of rock they call Canada. In these borders, we're all brothers. We're all sisters. Well, anyways. Now I'm sounding a little weird, but anyways, yes, no. We are, when it comes down to it, we are brothers and sisters. It doesn't matter what our skin color is. We're all born here. We should be looking out for one another. And that's what it comes down to. And so if you want to join, it's free to join. We do have a donation part if you want to add to that. That comes in handy. It allows for us to do other stuff, but you don't have to donate. It's a free membership. There's a lot of different things. We need a lot of volunteers. Eventually will become paid positions as the sale of the company goes through. There is a lot of progress being made. Like I said, I got tons of designs They're not perfect. So can you imagine trying to become an engineer? And of course, I did have a lot of designs there before, and trying to bring the engineer and stuff like that, because we do have an engineer. We have medical. We have a lot of different things, and we have a lot of indigenous. I should say, First Nation nurses that are looking to come in, but I want them to come in, and so the idea is with our medical system is that nurses will be retrained to become healers. So this way, if there's something that they can give them that they're educated to do that will relieve the symptoms and help heal, then they are obligated to do this. This is why it takes training to do that. You can't just say, oh, yeah, go take some chili peppers. They're going to be good for you. Well, yeah, they're good for you, but you get where I'm going, right? If they're having an acid reflux attack, that's going to be the worst thing you want to do. An apple. Believe it or not, apples are the best thing for acid reflux. If you're having kidney problems or liver or intestinal problems, cranberry juice, cocktail. You mix it with water and you drink it for about 2 months, mixed, and that's all you drink. So there's a lot of different natural remedies, right? Honey with onions helps get rid of bronchitis and respiratory infection, stuff like that. Now, honey itself is good. Always look at the back of the honey. So if it says 1% iron, then you know you got real honey. And it should say 1% other stuff too. But where the fake ones, they will ignore the iron part and they don't put it on, or they'll say 0% iron. So 0% iron, it's fake. It's corn syrup. And it's tainted to the point where it tastes a bit like honey, but it's not. Oh. I know this is a late video. Like I said, I couldn't sleep, so I thought, you know what? I figured I would get our message out there. Now, I apologize for the swearing, but it is what it is. I wanted people to be aware of why we'll never celebrate Thanksgiving. And what we're doing with Canoe Nation. It doesn't mean we can't come together for food. That's why I called it a Harvest Fest. Could we call it something else? Sure. We could call it Remembrance for the people that were lost. But that just seems a little down. Harvest Fest sounds more positive, right? I'm like trying to be positive. This is why we all agreed to keep politics out of our groups and our chats. Because all it is negative. Oh, Trudeau did this, or blah, 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 blah. It's like, I don't freaking care. Let them fall. Let them go on their podiums and call out Nazis and all that crap, and we'll rebuild and create a new path. One where we can actually be proud to go to work, come home, and we get 90% of what we've earned. Where we're not taxed to death to the point we can't afford to pay our house or have a mortgage where it's your kids are going to, or grandkids are going to be paying it off, right? So a good example, our 1,500 square foot place. Now, I know I mentioned it before, but unfortunately, inflation's gone up. And anyways, originally we said 50 grand for 1,500 square foot place, but now it had to change, unfortunately. So about 100,000. So if you were to make, say, 6,000 C&Ts a year, which is 3 C&Ts an hour, which is equivalent to $30 Canadian, within 4 years, you own your own place. I know, right? Weird, eh? Now, with utilities, unless we're getting external utilities, you don't pay for them. Now, we got a lot of different designs to create energy without having to go on the grid. But that being said, the plan is to set it up so the power is free, but there's still a maintenance fee of $50 a month. Water is free, but there's a maintenance fee again of $50 a month because we still have to keep people on call if the water line breaks or power, something happens. We need people that are trained and that can be kept around on an everyday basis to be able to do maintenance to everything, right? To upgrade the internet lines, for example. We're going to have our own internal system so that way we can't be hacked. With a digital library from everything from movies to books to videos on how to, blueprints, anything and everything that would be useful to help rebuild a society from scratch if we ever had to. And with also redundant backups with EM-proof shielding, just in case. You never know. And I'm not trying to be paranoid. I mean, you have the U.S. talking about go to war with Russia and nukes, and now I'm not worried because no one's gonna. They're just flexing their balls and and their pretend muscles and saying, now the U.S. will never launch because they know the Russia will launch back, and they don't want to commit suicide. Hopefully not. But that's they did the same thing back in Cold War, right? And that's why I know that they're not going to launch a nuke, is because none of them want their country destroyed. Part of the UN agenda is if one launches nukes, then every other one else has to launch nukes at them. So kind of tricky, right? U.S. launches a nuke first, everyone has to bomb the U.S. How is that fair to the people? At all. It isn't, right? So how would you survive a situation like that? Well, the great part is where we're building is considered in a zone where if there was ever a nuclear war, we're past the safe zone line. Back in the 70s, they considered anything from Prince Albert line and up north to be considered a safe zone because it has a different wind pattern or no wind at all. So there wouldn't be any nuclear fallout and you'd be able to rebuild. Anyways, I know I'm kind of going on about stuff. But I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys think about this, right? Who wouldn't? I mean, everyone's talking about nukes, and I've had people come to me panic. What do we do, Scott? It's like, there's nothing we can fucking do. So, relax, enjoy what time you may have left, and, let's plan. Let's develop. Let's get things on deal. Share the heck out of Canoe Nation. If you don't think you can do anything, contribute. That's bullshit. You could still at least invite a lot of people to the group. And they usually can only do about 20 people a day, but still, 20 to 30 people a day is good. You can share out the group. You can share out the websites. You can recruit friends. Now, it's not going to be easy at first, right? That's why I always find it easier if you just invite people to stuff and then get them to learn about what it's about and get them to figure out, okay, yeah, we like it, right? Especially if you're that shy person who doesn't like cameras. I really do actually kind of get annoyed that I'm the only one who goes in the camera, but it's what I was a reporter for a couple of years. I founded the Republic Party back in the day. I've probably done close to 2,000 different videos, and trust me, I was camera shy. And if I haven't been around a camera for a while, you'll hear me, by the way, yep, or yep. Anyways, and when I listen to myself after, I'm just laughing because there's nothing, I mean, what can you do, right? And, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. When it comes down to it, you have no control over it. You have no control over what the butt munchers do in Ottawa. Sorry, it just reminded me of all those memes of Pierre and the Zeke guy from the NDP leader. Yeah, anyways, I suppose they're on their honeymoon now that Sophie's gone. Oh man, oh man, oh man. I actually feel sorry for that poor woman, but she chose him, right? She truly did. But anyways, like God used to say, or actually I should say Jesus himself said, love thy enemy, right? So if you look at it as the fact that he doesn't bug you, and I know it takes a while, forgiving, the reality is even though he's done everything abroad to everyone, personally, he's never done anything to me bad. Yeah, he's limited some stuff. To get a firearm now, if I ever wanted one, I couldn't. It'd be almost possible. And yes, that's a corkscrew gun. Not a real gun. But I don't like guns anyways. Do I have a problem with other people having them? That's their business, not mine. I love my hunting bows. I love that. And I'm perfectly fine with that. So, when it comes down to it, government should never be involved in about 90% of what they're involved in now. And, yeah, it's just a freaking mess. So the huge difference is that with Canoe Nation, Canada's up here with a full control across the country, whereas Canoe Nation is the control. The community is all the power goes back to the community. Uh, each so you'd elect you'd elect a chief. Sorry, it's a little late here. You elect a chief, and then you elect your local representative who represents your industry. Now, that's a bit different, right? Now, why would I do the industry part? Because if you're working in the industry, you want the best person to represent you at the council. And the reason why is because they're not government. They're not the ones that we think. They do budgeting, and that's it. Then they have to get the budget approved by the people. So if they want to spend anything outside, other than paying a percentage to the Grand Council for helping to pay for security, stuff like that, if they want to say, okay, we're going to go pay $2 million to Israel to help with what's going on, the people get to vote on that. And of course, it'd probably be no. It's like, why would we do that? That makes no sense, right? It makes no sense for us to pay the war in Ukraine. We're in Canada. That has nothing to do with us. If Western world would have stayed out of Ukraine, the war would have been over in a month. It actually was. They were in a peace treaty. And then because the Western world got involved, the war continued. And a lot of people died because of the British Prime Minister at the time ripped up that peace treaty that Vlasky and Vlad wrote up and signed. So it's sad. Everyone wants their war, and we don't need war. We're beyond this. Like, we should be way beyond this. Like, we have resources in every country. We can share. I don't get it why we're going to war over stupid stuff. And it is. I mean, U.S. is going into war with other countries for oil, but they have more oil than half a lot of the world, right? And then, I mean, Canada importing all our oil from Saudi Arabia and other countries, and it's just like, why? We have more than enough oil here. And I mean, I'm not a fan of oil altogether. I'd much prefer electric with a different form of, with no battery, with a different system, right? But that's just me. I'm not talking about the batteries and lithium is awful too, right? So it's like, do I want to be that environmentally destructive, or do I want to be that environmentally destructive? It is, as a person, it's very hard to do. So with what we're planning on with using thorium, we might be able to set it up, because thorium is very safe compared to uranium. We might be able to set up a very good alternative power source, so that way you don't have to have battery. You could just go anywhere across. You'd still have to pay so much per kilometer and so much per core, but it'd be a hell of a lot cheaper. So, like, for about $400, you went from one side of the country and back and back, and without having a problem, no issues, stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff we're working on, like I said, with designs, plans, and it's amazing. Even the tunnels thing, for the utilities, going under the property to move stuff around. I could talk to you all the day about this. And you know what? I love talking about Canoe Nation. Go away, fly. I know they don't understand me, but I'm not the only one, I swear, that swats the fly and go away, right? Like, he can understand you, right? All right, so I'm a little giddy because I'm lack of sleep, but yeah, I mean, a lot of stress going on about everything. And then I started thinking about all the doing this video tomorrow, and I have a bad habit of that. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Nope, never gets done, right? Because I get busy doing other stuff. Either cleaning my place up, because I got guests coming, cooking, stuff like that, working with business. There's some days where I'll get up and I'm on the phone from the time I get up till about 2, and then I get to go have a shower. And even sometimes I'm getting the shower ready and I have someone call, so I have to shut it off and go deal with business there. So, no, we have a lot of people that are wonderful people. And I don't even think they realize by sharing that stuff too. And I'm not saying don't share. if you're going to share stuff, share it in a positive way. So, like, I mean, the yes, fucking Pierre Poilievre has got this or something. If you support the Conservatives or whatever party you support, just don't support the Liberals, NDP, or the Bloc or the Green, and I'll have no problem with you. Actually, I probably won't have a problem with anyone, anyways. But um, I've noticed though that anyone who seems to support Justin or Liberals, it's like their brain isn't there. You kind of go talk to them and they get offended so easily. I don't know. You make a joke and it's World War III, and I'm not the only one who's experienced this, but anyways, I also noticed that a lot of narcissists tend to lead left as well. So we actually have a test. So when people come in, if we're not sure about, we test them, do an interview, and it's about 15, 20 questions, and it tells us whether you're a narcissist or not, or if you can contribute or not to our community. Now, right now, we're not so much doing that. I'm not too worried about it. But we've gotten very good at spotting narcissists. When we started the first, 3 or 4 months, we had about 5 different narcissists try to take down our organization. Good thing I'm too stubborn for that to happen, but unfortunately, we did lose a few good people. But I guess they weren't that good if they didn't stick around and actually learn for themselves. This is what I mean by following people blindly. Don't follow me blindly. Don't follow me. Follow the plan, follow the Canoe Nation, be part of something, help design, help build. Because there's so much part of it that could be designed by other people. So don't go for the easy stuff. Aquaponics already got designed. As for medical and a lot of other things, no. Basic infrastructure, yes. How we're going to do certain things is not 100%. We can always use people who are very creative to help make things move forward and stuff like that. And I mean, if you work with me, and we get to light, how do you put it? If you get noticed, pretty much, we quickly bump people up to leaders very much because we got so many councils that need to be filled. It's crazy. So I look at someone who's willing to give me their time now and volunteer. I'm happy to hire them as a director later on because they did such great work. Now, mind you, there is some of our directors that work full time and don't have the ability to interface all the time, but they do vote and they do participate. But they can't afford all the time to spend a lot of energy on what we're doing and stuff like that. And because I'm at a home office for the other, I have time to once in a while when it's slow do up designs, and I haven't done one in a while. So I think I'm gonna find something to design and go at it. Right. I mean, the healing center would be pretty nice. But I mean, again, most of that stuff would be in the malls. So the idea is you have the community center that sits on almost 20 acres, 600,000 square feet. You have the community in different sections. You have families that are going to be closer to one side of the community center where the schools are and stuff like that. Then you're going to have all the individuals, and then you're going to have the seniors on the other side. And then, so this way, seniors who don't like kids running on their lawn, they can avoid that. And then they can go up to the community center, stuff like that, to eat every day. And so with that, this 5 schools will be attached to the north side of the community center. So you have elementary, junior high, high school, college, and the academy. I'll explain the academy another day, but not military. It's creative academy. So anyone who's 12 and up who has ADHD would be able to go there because they naturally have creative minds. The most all our famous inventors, anyone who's in the past, have all have ADHD. If you actually go back and look at their symptoms, anyways, not getting into that too much, but yeah. And then the mall is going to be over 40 acres. Now it's going to be a very big mall, but only about maybe 5 acres or 10 are going to be used for retail. The rest is going to be used for storage, warehouses, grain facilities, like grinding the grain for the bakery, making cheese, all that kind of stuff. Like different processes to when we want to create cornflakes, and we got a lot of harvesting for white corn through the aquaponics. We can put all the corn through the machine to be able to make cornflakes, or a facility there to help mix the honey, so that way we can, because we're going to mass produce honey. I have designs for that as well. We're going to take good but older semi trailers that have seen better days and build hives in them with those new honey flow systems, so this way they don't have to keep rebuilding the combs every time, and you just unlock and boom, all the honey comes flowing down in tubes and fills 5-gallon pails. And yeah, without them having to rebuild the combs every time, they can produce way more honey and go way faster. But we can build huger hives too. So the queen's gonna have this nice big box below, and then you have 17 shelves of these easy flow hives, allowing for them to mass produce honey. Because the old fashioned system, one hive can be like 30-40 boxes on a pallet. So these hives can get pretty big very quickly. And that's why I was thinking, well, we could always design it and then have it set up so when a certain level is filled, you can open up boards and slide them out, and it's just a matter of caretaker. So when we first build these, it's going to take a lot of people. But then after, it maybe take, on average, about 5 to 10 full-time jobs out of it, or part-time, depending how well you like the bees. But the way we're designing is this, so you actually won't even be around the bees. You'll see them and stuff like that through certain parts, but they can't fly at you, right? Because it's sealed up properly, and then you got holes on the side of the trailer that they all fly out of. And as you're walking where you're walking, you don't have to worry about getting stung. You don't have to worry about, any of that, right? Which is nice. You don't have to wear the heavy gear. You can if you want to. But yeah, this would make it a lot easier. Either way, when you're pulling the box out for the queen, though, so when you pull the box out, it has the traditional combs that they have to make. And the reason why is because, and the reason why you pull it out is every couple of weeks to a month, you want to look for those queen eggs. You want to look for, because you need more queens all the time to create new hives. So what you do is you take the queen deals with a whole bunch of drones and a few of the honey ones, and you put them in a new hive, and you take some drones and you put them in there. So the moment that queen hatches, it might be a while before she starts producing a little bit, but she'll have food, and then she'll have drones to work with her. Yeah, no, I love bees. It's terrified of them, but I love them. Kind of like horses, they're big, and same with cows. They can be very intimidating. Going up to a horse, you got to be careful, right? If they start batting their hoofs, they're scared, right? And it's like a lot of animals will let you know if they're afraid, and you just go slower then and talk to them, and eventually they're happy as a lark to get a pet. They'll love the attention. But when they don't know you, they're like, oh, stranger danger, right? Man, oh man, oh man. I love what I do. And when someone says, what's your 5-year plan, Scott? Says, I can't tell you 100%, but I know I'll be Grand Chief for the next 25 years because up at the top with limited power, it's set up so that way it's hereditary positions, but we only have the ability for diplomacy, trade. We're kind of like an anti-corruption, so if we suspect communities corrupt, we can send the accountants in. They do all the stuff, but mostly all digital anyways, so it's easy to check. So our job is to make sure the democracy behaves. And then it would be from next to next. You're on the Grand Council, you have to be extraordinary. You have to be creative. You have to pretty much be like a Trump. You already have your money for life. You don't need a paycheck, so it's pretty much volunteer. the funds that come to the Grand Council is to pay for security, and a lot of times more of that will come out of our pockets as our contribution to the people and stuff like that. We will a lot of times be business owners in the communities. We've restructured everything on how it'll work a lot more efficient and make it more simple for the people. Like a good example, rancher, for anything he does, like sheep, whatever, at the end of the when he needs to bring up something to butcher, he doesn't need to go put out ads out trying to sell his livestock or anything like that. He just brings them to the release house, and it's like a co-op sharing a certain percentage will go to the community at cost. Now that includes paying their wages, stuff like that, and the community still owns a bit of their business as an insurance policy. So if something happened, all the animals died, the community would replace them and help them get back on their feet, kind of thing. So farmer, only all he has to do is love his animals, not too much. We're not talking about animal bestiality. I'm talking about love them, feed them, take care of them, and nothing weird or sick. But anyways, just had to bring that up because there's weird people out there. Next thing you know, LGBTQ will be welcoming bestiality, and if they aren't already, gross. Anyways, the point, I know I'm going to a whole different deal, but for some reason it just popped in my head when I was like saying, yeah, love your animal. Well, okay, loving your animal means taking care of him, brushing him, making sure his hoofs are clean, his hair is trimmed, all that kind of stuff. Fed well, water, his pen's clean. That is showing true love to your animals, right? Now, a lot of the stuff we will have automated, like for example, our dairy cattle, and even our dairy goats. Even though that someone else may own it eventually, we're going to set it up because it's a good positive thing for the community, and the excess cheese and dairy products we can sell in the other stores, external. We're going to set up our own Canoe Nation Farmers Market stores everywhere, so that way we can sell cheese, meat, fresh produce, and then also offer to other farmers who want to come in. Instead of sitting on those stands all the time, they can come in, put up a stand, everything like that. We get a 10 or 20% cut, as well as it'll be way cheaper per annual fee than what the farmers market is. So anyways, for that granny who loves baking her pies and does really good with pies or bread and stuff like that, have her own little shelf and stuff like that, It takes a lot of work to make homemade stuff. It's not something where it's done overnight. And so people think when we see say a pumpkin pie, for example, for $3.99, that is a factory made pie. There's no way they could have made that homemade. She said the lady there that worked there who ordered it, they ordered, was it 200 cases of pumpkin pie, and they already sold about 180 of them. So if you get the right recipe, it's still good. Like, there's still a lot of stuff we're going to set up for machines for, like making flatbread. If we can get it set up so that way we have a dough machine, so we have the big mixers, you pour it in and it measures the right dough and everything. That works great, but that doesn't mean we still can't keep the home touch and have our own little recipe or little, we're going to have the wood ovens. So when we're baking that bread, oh, nice, beautiful French bread. Very little preservatives, so the bread will only last a few days, but that's okay. The leftovers can be fed to the chickens, the pigs, the livestock, right? Wow. I was only planning on being on here for about 10 minutes, an hour and 4, so hope everyone's getting something from this. I really do. Canoe Nation isn't about following anyone. We have councils that are set up, yes, but it's the people that are really in charge, and we set it up like that on purpose because I believe I call it true democracy, because what we currently now is just dictatorship. We always have. We've never been able to vote for a leader. You can vote for your local representative, but you can never vote on laws. Like, it'd be cost too expensive. That's nonsense. With technology nowadays, you could have a app through a third-party company that only allows answers to Supreme Court, and there you go. And it make it so that way they can't be bullied, stuff like that, and they can take an honest vote and have it set up so the 1-800 number, if your vote changed, it wouldn't be that hard, right? So, yes, in our system, are we going to do voting through for laws and stuff through there? Yes. If you want to vote members in, we might do the old paper version, right? And that's okay. Probably just a little paper and you write down who you're voting for, as who represents you and who you want as chief. And then the following year would be, so what we do is a 5-year cycle. So 2020, 2025, 2030, that would be for chief and councils. And then the next one, year after, would be the sheriff. And we'd have our own sheriff and deputies. We'd have our own CPS, but more for home welcoming service to help people get back up on their feet, to help them find services that they need in the community to get on their feet. And so that we'd have our own career counselors. To the career counselors, so instead of someone hiring you, you got to go through the process. One of the companies says, I need 20 workers. So yeah, she had 20 people come in. It's like, hey, can this work for you? And she sends them on their way to the person who needs staff. And the idea is you have the career counselors to handle that. Now, generally, they want to try to place you where you're best suited or where you want to learn. Now, at the beginning, pretty much wherever we need you at first, then eventually get to the point where you want to learn new things when we got more time available, absolutely. But while we're building a community at first, it would be quite interesting. Now, the two sources for income for the communities will be, one will be mass production of food through aquaponics, fish and produce, stuff like that, pork, some beef, but most of the beef's kept for the community, ostrich, I don't know about keeping sheep for meat, but and then a few other things. Goats. Goat, I wouldn't eat for meat, but their dairy is. I love goat cheese. Really good for kids too. If you have a problem with them not gaining weight, just put a goat cheese log in front of them and let them go at it. That'll get them gaining a few pounds there for winter, especially. And I'm not talking about an 8-year-old. I'm talking about like a baby that's just starting to eat with his hands and stuff. Anyways, that's a whole other story. But yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff. We want to work on getting a lot of different things to help support. There's the other side, which is the mining side. So even though I'm selling my mining company, to avoid paying capital gains, I have to put in a whole new mining company, which is okay because I do want to mine. And we found some new mining spots that more caters to what we're looking for, closer by to where that new community would be than anything. And hence the reason why we haven't advertised where it is, excuse me there, is because of that. So we have full claim on everything. We don't want to share that out and let people know that. But this beautiful rock right here was found, and not too far, over 30% mineral content. It's nickel, platinum, palladium, iron, and a bit of quartz. It's a beautiful sample. And then we got another one over here. It's about 22%. Actually, kind of the story about this is I tripped when I was looking for something, and saw something shiny. Guy who manages the property is like, yeah, there's no gold. I said, I'm not looking for gold. So, no, we're on our way. It's just taking time. People who bought our company keeps having delays with their banking, so it is what it is, right? We can only go so fast, only go so far as everyone lets us. Either way, I want to say happy Harvest Festival Um, I usually start it off at Friday, and then, you have meals every day, whether it be leftovers and you have still people over. And then Monday is your last day of cooking. So you try to cook every day or something new sometimes too for being creative. I did a 12 course meal for me and my buddy there. I actually I've never done that much. Normally it's only been, I think my maximum before was 6 or 8 courses. But even the bread still counts as a course. Um, we had dessert. Oh man, oh man, oh man, it was good. But no, I enjoy being creative. I enjoy cooking in the kitchen, and that's what it comes down to is just being able to cook and enjoy what you're doing and stuff like that. Now, as for cleaning, that's a whole different thing. Horrible cleaner, but I'm the only one who's going to do it, so I might as well enjoy it. Well, it's and that's another thing about being positive, right? I put some music on from my phone on the I have a radio app. I listen to music, get going, and all of a sudden it's done within no more than a half hour. I was like, wow, where'd the time go, right? And then I realized too, my stress level's down, right? So if you're stressed, dishes are really good to help with that as well. Um, Hoping this helps some people. And I know, like I said, I went out of my way to do this video and some nice swearing. I by no means do I want to make people feel guilty. By any means about Thanksgiving. I just want to let them be aware of what it actually means. So hopefully maybe they'll change the name and come around to it and say, we're going to change it to Harvest Festival as well. Harvest Festival weekend or whatever, right? So this way it's a more positive deal. And still, give thanks to everything you are thankful for, right? Either way, guys, God bless. May the Creator be with you. Good night, and happy Harvest Festival.